Strat-O-Matic Excel Carryover League. Brought to you by the Shrimp Troll.
(1973 to 1976). Welcome back, baseball fans, to 1973-76 Carryover League. We are back in the American League today. We have a series with an expansion team, truly fictional expansion team, the Ohio Players, against the New York Yankees. Talk about a swing of fiction and truth. My goodness, you've got the most storied Major League Baseball franchise battling for their life against a team that didn't even exist, that's playing pretty good baseball. Let's go to look at the tourney action. This is the last matchup. We have seen Texas come away a game over 500. Red Sox continue 2 above. Twins 3 above. We got one more spot, and these would be seeds 5, 6, 7, and 8. Of course, 1 to 4 the present division leaders. And it's the Yankees Ohio Players. The Yankees a game under 500. The Red Sox and Toronto were really underachieving in the American League. And Ohio Players had the worst record in the league a year ago. They had the first pick in the draft, took 1976 Vita Blue with it. And they're a game and a half ahead, which means that the Yankees would have to win 3 games to 2 and then a tie-breaking game 6 to win 4 games to 2. There's another problem that the Yankees have, and it affects their pitching rotation. In the first round, the Yankees needed to play 8 games to finish off Toronto. They split 8 games with Toronto, and that was enough to, I guess, it wasn't as if they eliminated Toronto. Of course they did, but it's like they subdued Toronto. 17-19 Yankees, 18-19, and we're done. We could play 5-5 in 10 games, 6-6 in 12 games. You see, you just have to end it sooner or later, folks, right? But that meant that the Yankees lost a day off to set the pitching up the way they liked it. And that meant that their pitching would be... Here is the pitching order for this round. It's normally 3 days, 3 games, a day off, and 2 games. But the way the Yankees have rolled, Ohio got an extra day off, and they have to go with McDaniel, Osteen, Medich, Stottlemyre, and then they got to pull a guy out of the bullpen for Game 5, Fred Bean. That would be 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 games in a row. A 14th game if they win Game 6. And, of course, the next series could be, 17, 18, 19 in a row. If the Yankees are even able to do that, right? Let's take a look at what happened in Ohio in Game 1. It's Lindy McDaniel, the number 4 starter. He's a relief 4-starter 8, so that's not that big a deal for the Yankees to overcome. It's a very good pitcher, too, against Vita Blue. Bottom of the first, we get a 2-run homer by George Hendrick. In the 4th inning, and this is really going to be interesting as we follow this, with the runners on the corners, Fred Kendall, acquired just to be Thurman Munson's backup from the Padres, actually would have been a starter. RBI ground out, it's 2-1. And then in the 5th inning, Chris Chambliss RBI single, 2-2. 6th inning, Fred Kendall, solo homer, 3-2 Yankees. Stays that way in the 8th inning with a runner on. They pull McDaniel and go to Sparky Lowell, say, can you get 5 outs and get a save? And the answer is, no, he can't. Pinch hitter Pepe Mangual singles to lead off the 9th. Bill Robinson doubles. Orlando Cepeda RBI single to tie it. And then just for good measure, Ike Brown RBI single to win it Ohio players come back in the bottom of the ninth and beat the Yankees 4-3. I tell you, folks, sometimes teams do not feel any pressure at all, and that's the Ohio players, who shouldn't even be here. Truly fictional team, one of the worst teams in the league a year ago, and I would describe them as an outstanding starting rotation, lousy bullpen, unused lousy bullpen, checkered defense, but some speed and some great batting averages, and several all-stars in this team, including Dave Cash, Bill Robinson, even Larry Lintz made the utility role all-star nod this year. So there is some stuff happening here with this Ohio player team. They win 4-3 in a walk-off. Write that down. Game number 2. You wrote Fred Kendall down too, right? I hope you did. All right. Second inning, the Yankees get a run on an RBI double by Marv Lane. No, not the street in Monopoly. He's actually a baseball player, Marvin Lane. Then in the third inning, runners on the corners, actually second and third, 2 outs. Fred Kendall, 2-run single. 3-0 Yankees. But in the bottom of the third, Claude Osteen, Yankee starter, gets up a 2-run homer to Pepe Mangual, who scored the tie run in the ninth inning as a pinch hitter, making it 3-2. Yankees add a run in the seventh on a Fred Kendall RBI single. What is going on with this guy? He's playing DH while Munson catches just to get them both in a lineup. It makes it a 4-2 game. But in the bottom of the eighth inning, again, the Yankees just have this issue trying to close things out. They're suddenly shorthanded pitching. Lyle blew yesterday's game, so they try the tandem of Fred Bean, Fred Sherman, and Dick Tidrow today. In the eighth inning, we have a single by Ivan DeJesus, a 189 hitter, a walk, and then Elliot Maddox is a 1-3 E6 right fielder. I mean, what more could you ask for? He makes a 2-base error. That scores a run. And then Dan Driesen sac fly. We're all tied up. It's 4-4. But then in the ninth, Rudy May is going for 9 innings, the max he can go for. After 2 outs and 2 walks, who else? Fred Kendall. They keep pitching to him. He keeps driving in runs and getting hits. Another RBI single by Fred Kendall. 5-4 Yankees. Can the Yankees close out a win? Bottom of the ninth, after a couple outs, a man reaches. It is pinch hitter Larry Lintz. And Fred Sherman is brought in, a lefty, to face the lefty Carlos May. It doesn't matter. Carlos May with a single. And then you get, with 2 outs, Dick Tidrow is brought in to face Pepe Mangual. So they decide to go with a left-handed pinch hitter, Elrod Hendricks, who hit 208 for Baltimore. RBI single, Ohio players, and they tie at 5-5. How are they doing this? Sparkle blew a save. Fred Bean gave up a few runs. Dick Tidrow blew that one. 10th inning, the Yankees go quietly. Bottom of the 10th, we have the runner at second is Dave Cash. Tidrow dominates righties, not so much against lefties, so he walks Driesen to face the righties Brown, Robinson, Hendrick, and Cepeda. It doesn't matter. Ike Brown, the first guy, doubles off a Tidrow. Ball game! 6-5. Ohio players win another one. Walking off! How is this even happening? How is this happening to the New York Yankees? I'm sure everybody's out there is laughing or enraged and angry. Mr. Steinbrenner just bought this team because we got to remember we got the 76 World Series team as part of this. And the fictional Ohio players are on the verge of knocking out the Yankees and making the Elite Eight, the final 8 teams of the American League. Let's look at the standings, too. There's another neat little wrinkle here. Look at these guys. Look at them. The team from Ohio and not the Cleveland Indians. Whoops. Supposed to be. That was supposed to be the Cleveland Indians. They were presented with open arms, a pathway to winning the division, but they screwed it up, of course. No, it's the Dayton, Ohio players who are 22-18, tied with the Tigers. Tigers had the tiebreaker. So Ohio would have to, unfortunately, they have to win Game 4, or Game 3 that we're about to play, because they have to get to 5 over 500. 4 over 500 is not going to give them first place. Yet, they could play in the next round and get first place. Or the Yankees could rip off 4 straight wins and make that point moot. So, today, we are in New York. It's not the Bronx Zoo, folks. It's this transitional period that just seems to be confounding the Yankees. They still have Bobby Mercer. They got a really good Elliot Maddox card. This is the Gene Locklear year before he goes to Japan. Again, they brought in Fred Kendall, who's a nice piece. This is probably the last good Mel Stottlemyre card. They went out and got Claude Osteen in the offseason. On paper, they got a great bullpen of Sparky Lau, Fred Bean, Dick Tidrow. Of course, they keep losing games with it. Game 3 from the Bronx. It is survive and advance. You have to win all the games. And there's no more days off for the Yankees either. It'll be Medich today. If there's a tomorrow, it's Stottlemyre. If there's a day after that, Fred Bean comes out of the bullpen. If there's a day after that, it's Claude Osteen, I guess, or Lindy McDaniel. They both would be available for Game 6, if I'm really getting ahead of myself. Today's starting pitchers for the Ohio players, it is Lynn McLaughlin. Another nice pitcher, St. Louis Cardinal pitcher in 74 and 237 innings. Blocked there by some guy named Bob Gibson. Whoops. So he didn't get the Cardinal protection he rightly deserved. Actually, he didn't get the Boston protection he rightly deserved. He was on the Red Sox earlier in the decade. We had him on Oakland a year ago. We traded him to the Ohio players. He's a really nice card for old Lynn. And the Yankees will send a doctor out there. Doc Medich. And if you're wondering, Doc Ellis is pitching tomorrow. We almost had the Docs facing each other, but yeah, it would be Doc Ellis in a Game 5 versus aforementioned Mel Stottlemyre. But anyway, Doc Medich in 73, a 14-game winner, 291 ERA. Moreover, here's the big news for the Yankees. They're finally not facing a lefty. They were somewhat confounded with Vida Blue and Rudy May, led, of course, by Fred Kendall leading their offense. Oh, and by the way, if you're wondering, yeah, he's on the bench now. Because the Yankees, theoretically, are loaded with lefty bats, and they love right-handed pitching. So that sets up a scenario where they could, theoretically, come back in the series. Ohio at New York, from the Bronx. Let's get started. Leading off, it's Larry Lintz. 56 off the Medich card, triple 1-4. It's a base hit for your double-A Steeler. Munson's a -3 arm. Dave Cash will hit and run. That'll move the runner up. Hey, look at that. We rolled 20, 20, and 20 on the Steel Advanced T rating. That happens once in every billion rolls or something like that. Anyway, Dan Driesen. 3-8, grounds the third. And the runner holds a second on that ground ball in front of him. So it's George Hendrick. 56 off of Medich, double 1-4 fly ball, and it's a fly ball. This is where the Yankees could confound Ohio. The right-handed bats, they have a lot of them. Cash, Hendrick, Robinson, and Cepeda, and Ike Brown. So that bodes well for Doc Medich and company. Bottom of the first, it'll be Willie Randolph. They said, you know what, we're just going to leave this guy in the leadoff hole. I mean, this has been a down year for the Yankees. He needs experience. You're leading off with your 256 average, 267 average. 69 is a walk. Double-A Steeler, -1 arm of Elrod Hendricks. He's going to take off anyway. Oh, it's close. It's close. It's really close. And he is out because of Elrod Hendricks. The Baltimore nemesis. We saw former Oriole Dave McNally just pitch against the Red Sox and do very well. Now former Oriole Elrod Hendricks just guns down Willie Randolph. Roy White, 2-9 grounds to short. And Bobby Mercer, 1-7 is a grounder to the third. If you followed the mid-season report card, you would remember that the Yankees had 3 guys hitting like 350-ish, including Bobby Mercer and Elliot Maddox, and I think Gene Locklear. They were all hitting. Locklear's a 321 hitter. That's not too much of a surprise. Yet with all that incredible offense, they're still below 500. Top of the second inning. Carlos May, 1-5, grounds to second. White Sox didn't want him. Come to Ohio players. That's where a lot of guys, go. Bill Robinson, 57's a K. Orlando Cepeda, 37's a base hit. Elrod Hendricks, 56, triple on a 4-off. Medich is a base hit. Runners are on the corners for Ike Brown. 45 pops out. Bottom of the second. It'll be Greg Nettles leading off. 2-7, just misses a homer strikeout. Munson. Let's see here. Whoops, sorry. Munson. 69 is a walk. Gene Locklear, 1-7, base hit to right field. Munson will hold at second. And it's Chris Chambliss. 47 is a strikeout. 2 outs. Elliot Maddox. 37 is a K. Yankees put men on. They're not scoring. Top of the third. Larry Lentz. 47. Base hit. Cash will do another hit and run. He gets the hit and run single on a 5. And Ohio has something going here. Runners in the corners. With speed. Dreesen's got ground ball B's on his card. They're going to bring it up. You got to hold anyway. 57, second X. This is Randolph at 2E24 at second base. And that'll be a ground ball C. So the runner holds at third. The runner at first goes to second. It's George Hendrick. Kind of nowhere land here. No ground ball B's on his card. Can't get a double play. Don't want a 2-run single and a plus. They'll play it back. 45, he pops out. And with 2 outs, Carlos May. 2-9 is a strikeout. Both teams making threats, but not coming away with anything. Bottom of the Yankee order, it's Fred Chicken Stanley. 67's a base hit. Willie Randolph, 47's a K. Roy White, 5'11", is a K. And with 2 outs, Bobby Mercer, 2-9's a base hit to center field. 2 on, 2 outs for Greg Nettles. 2-8, let's take a look at Nettles' card. So, if you're wondering who led the American League in home runs in 1976 with a modest total of simply 32, that's all it took to lead the league, it's our guy Greg Nettles. He hit 254 with 32 dingers, 29 doubles. Only thing missing is the 1-nifs. He's not a 1 at third base yet. He'll be that way during the World Series years, I believe. 2-8 is your big 2-out, 3-run bomb, and the Yankees have a big hit. Not linked to Fred Kendall. And here's Munson, 38, grounds a short. Top of the fourth, it's Bill Robinson. 1-6 is a K. Orlando Cepeda, 45, pops out. Elrod Hendricks, 2-8, pops out. The McLaughlin's a starter 8, Medich a starter 7. If you're wondering about how the Yankees are going to play end game, since they've been horrendous playing it this year. And Sparky Lyle's been absolutely awful as a closer. Gene Locklear, 2-7, rolls the third. Chris Chambliss, 1-4, rolls the second. Elliot Maddox, 68, single 1-8, gets it. And Chicken Stanley, 5-12, second X. Dave Cash, 2E22, makes the play. We go to the fifth. It's Ike Brown. 32, short. Back up top to Larry Lintz. 49 walks. He's been on every time. Down 3. Cash will hit away this time. 110 pops out. And with 2 outs, it's Driesen. 68 pops a second. Lintz not interested in taking on the Munson -3 arm when you're down 3 runs. As we go to the bottom of the 5th. Let's pause a moment for station identification.
This is the Shrimp Trawler video channel.
Este es el canal de videos de camaroneros.
3-0 action here from New York. Hardly surprising they've led every game. It's not like the Ohio players are beating anybody down. I mean, they've had the starting pitchers have to go 8-9 innings all the time and not get knocked out, not get the point of weakness, and get walk-off wins with 2-out hits, stuff like that. That's not a long-term solution, but it's working right now in this sweet window that Yankee haters are probably enjoying. Willie Randolph, 2-7 is a base hit. Double-A stealer, he's going to take off. And he finally got one. Yeah, he got that one, barely. He's just slid in underneath. Roy White, 48, pops out. Bobby Mercer, 44, third X. Ike Brown to third base, he's a 4-30. It's not like you should expect like ones or stuff like that. That's an RBI single, and it's 4-0 Yankees. Look, the Yankees could pummel these guys like 11-0, folks. I mean, it shouldn't be, like a wow moment. Greg Nettles, 2-7, just misses that homer. So he rolled 2-7, 2-8, now another 2-7. And Munson, 2-9, rolls to third. 4-0, right-handed action. And they'll have a lefty in tomorrow, if there's a tomorrow, but then it's Doc Ellis, a righty after that. And then in the 6th tie-breaking game, who knows who it would conceivably be. We'll have to double-check the possibilities. 4-0 Yankees in the 6th. It's George Hendrick. 6-10 third X. Nettles, a 2-19, makes the play. Carlos May, 112, pops a short. Bill Robinson, 48, is a strikeout. Bottom of the 6th. Gene Locklear, 55, second C. Chris Chambliss, 48, pops a second. And Elliot Maddox, 37, is a K. Another YouTube trend. When I do these broadcasts, you folks have been seeing this for quite some time. I put up a scenario of a team getting beaten down. And a lot of times it's the really bad teams. I wouldn't necessarily qualify the Yankees there. Like, say, the Cubs. Cubs would be a good example. Then I broadcast the game, and the Cubs win. Like, the Cubs are almost undefeated on YouTube, and they're 0 for the rest of the season. It just seems like all the momentum a team has, and then I shut everything down, and I turn the microphones on, and I broadcast it, and the roles reverse, and the other team finally starts to play well. We've seen that a lot. Interesting. Not sure exactly why. I mean, it wouldn't make any sense for randomized numbers or anything. We don't change anything like that. Probably has more to do, again, with a right-handed pitcher for Ohio, if I had to guess. Orlando Cepeda, 44, center X. Mercer's a 1E6 in center field. Oh, yeah. And it also has to do with a 1E6 Elliot Maddox making a 2-base error, which doesn't even make any sense in the previous game. Elrod Hendricks, 46, base hit. Ike Brown, 39's a walk. Here come your Ohio players. And you could break Medich right here with a third base runner in the 7th inning. 2-1 out. Larry Lintz has not been retired. 2-11 for the 238 hitter, the 238 hitting leadoff man. He struck out. Hard to believe, right? And with 2 outs, it's Dave Cash. 4-11, first C. Medich gets out of the inning and will continue with a 4-0 lead. Stretch time here in New York, as the fans are finally a little happier than they've been. They've been really sulking after the dismal come-from-behind losses. We're enjoying the Des, the DES. That means it's Paul Desmond. You see the D, you see the D and the E and the S, the Des. The Des we call him. Paul Desmond. We got a nice collection of stuff. We got the Take 10 LP here. We got a Bossa Antigua one there. Glad to be Unhappy LP there. The new Take 10. We got some collaborations here. We got him doing the Simon and Garfunkel stuff there. He's Stan Webb, Albert Richmond. He's playing with other people here. And then, we just have him, Jerry Mulligan, of course. The Paul Desmond Quartet, and then with Jerry Mulligan. It's 88 cuts on about 6 different releases, all shuffled up. We like the sound of the wonderful alto maestro, sidekick Mr. Brubeck. Back in the day, Paul Desmond, back to the game. Bottom of the 7th. McLaughlin will continue. It'll be Fred Stanley. 69, he walks. Back up top to Randolph. 2-9, it's a 6-4-3 double play. And Roy White. 1-9, double 1-12, gets it. Bobby Mercer with a runner in scoring position. 64 off the McLaughlin card. Big hit here. Homer, 1-11, 2-base hit. It is 5-zip. McLaughlin's a starter 8, so he'll stick around through the rest of this inning. Greg Nettles strikes out. 5-0 Yankees. Into the 8th we go. The Yankees are going to improve their defense one spot. They're going to put Marv Lane in left field for Roy White. They cannot blow another one. They've led every game into the late innings, have not won. Trying to win a baseball game in the Bronx. Dan Driesen. 2-5, base hit. George Hendrick, 66, single 1-6, can't get it. Any base hit breaks Medich. And they'd love to get into this Yankee pen. Carlos May, 65's a K. And with 2 outs, it's Bill Robinson. 55, that'll do it. Triple 1-2-8 is a single. And that puts runners on the corners. It breaks Medich with Orlando Cepeda up. Dare you pitch broken to one right-handed batter just because you're so... no, we're not. We're going to yank him. In the spirit of the game, he hit the point of weakness. We'll get him out of there. I mean, the Yankees are supposed to have a really nice bullpen, actually, and we're going to bring in Dick Tidrow here. Tidrow in 1975, 6-3 with a 3.13 ERA in 69 innings. He'll be asked to get Orlando Cepeda out here in the 8th inning with runners on the corners and 2 outs. Here's your pitch to Orlando. 2-7 is a strikeout, and the inning's over. All right, I think Ohio is finally going to pull up a starting pitcher before their point of weakness. Mostly because they're down 5. Also, because the bullpen, is the least used bullpen in the entire league. I mean, every pitcher needs to pitch at least 10 innings this year, and I think I'm bringing in Larry Demiri. I think Larry Demiri is the least used pitcher in the league. He's actually leads the club in saves. He's pitched like 10 2/3. So he'll come on in the 8th inning here. Larry Demiri had a 2.90 ERA for the Pirates in 75 as a relief starter. Thurman Munson, 2.8, grounds a short. Gene Locklear, 65, center. And Chris Chambliss, 1.9, is a pop to short. Before I forget, because I'm not sure if and when I'll be looking at stats, just want to throw one more stat in here for you. Ohio's closer, the guy at the bottom, is Sparky Lyle down here for the Yankees. It's Tom Hall. It is the Tom Hall from the Cincinnati Reds, Minnesota Twins. Was really awesome in 72. I think it was like 13-1 with a 1.60 ERA. He is Ohio's closer. He has 0 saves this year, but he's 4-4. That's right. He has 8 decisions in 40 games. and no saves. So when he comes in, it gets exciting, folks. His ERA is over 10. He's pitched like 12 innings, given up 14 runs. But he's got 4 wins and 4 losses. So, yeah, and he's the closer. A shell of himself, we could say. Anyway, he won't be needed today as they're down 5. I wanted to throw that little tidbit in there for you. Tidrow, can you get 3 more outs with a 5-run lead? It'll be Elrod Hendricks. 4-4, center X. It's Mr. Mercer. He makes the grab. Ike Brown, 68, flies left. And with 2 outs, Larry Lentz trying to reach for a 4th time. 37 does with a single. He'll go down to second without a throw for Dave Cash. 2-11 pops to short, and that's your ball game. That didn't seem very difficult at all, did it, folks? The New York Yankees won a baseball game. They beat a team that didn't even exist, the Ohio players, by a score of 5-0. So after the break, we'll give you the box score of this game. And as the Yankees are rolling through pitching candidates for the future games, tomorrow's game, it'll be Stoudemire, Fred Bean, and then probably Claude Osteen. For the Ohio players, it'll be Vida Blue, Doc Ellis, and then Lynn McLaughlin. This Lynn McLaughlin will come back on 3 days rest, theoretically trying to save their season in a Game 6. Rudy May can't pitch on 3 days rest, so it's got to be McLaughlin for that. So, yeah. Medich gets the win. Tidrow helps him finish the shutout. 2 pitchers combined on the shutout. McLaughlin loses the game. So we'll give you the box score and so forth after the break. So stay tuned. All right, folks, we got the update here. Let's show you the box score of Game 3 you just saw. Yankees 5-0 victors. Doc Medich, 7 2/3, 8 hits, 2 walks, 6 strikeouts, and Tidrow got the final 4 outs. A nice little 9-hit shutout for the Yankees. McLaughlin, 7 innings, 9 hits, 5 runs allowed. So the Yankees have one more game in the Bronx. They're gonna have to beat Vida Blue. They almost beat Vida Blue in the first one. Actually, he got a no decision because they came back and won. In this one, it's early for Ohio. In the 2nd inning, you get a Carlos May single, a Cepeda single, Elrod single, a walk to Ike Brown. Your dreaded bases loaded walk to 238 hitting Larry Lentz, a Dave Cash sac fly, and Driesen with an RBI single. 4 runs. Surely the Yankees can come back. Stop calling me Shirley. Bottom of the 4th inning, Bobby Mercer singles, Munson singles, Maddox walks, loading the bases for our guy Fred Kendall. Yep, RBI single. And then you have your dreaded, what is it called? Your bases loaded walk to Greg Nettles to get a 2nd run. Bases loaded, nobody out. Marv Lane, it's a double play that scores a run, and then a strikeout. So Blue finishes the inning nicely and holds on to a 4-3 lead. 5th inning, you get a George Hendrick homer. And it would stay this way with Stoudemire and Vida Blue. They go to the 9th inning, and Vida Blue is still out there. He's a starter 8, and he's had a nice day to this point, and he's left in there. Bottom of the 9th, Chris Chambliss strikes out. Bobby Mercer, possible final at-bat for the Yankees. Don't know what's going to happen in the offseason. Are they going to trade him? Who knows? But he flies the center what could be the final at-bat of his Yankee tenure. Munson singles. Elliot Maddox walks, which means Kendall gets to bat with a chance of... That's where we are. Let's get to Fred Kendall for the Yankees. And he pops out this time to end the game. He still was 1 for 5 with an RBI. I guess we could look at his stats. But yeah, the Ohio players beat the Yankees 5-3 in the Bronx with the big guy, Big George, up in the press box, up in the suite, private suite up there, fuming. Actually probably wanted Vida Blue from Charlie Finley, and no, he doesn't get him. Vida Blue goes to this team instead. The Yankees just lost 3 of 4 games to a team that didn't exist, and their season is over. Their season's done. Here's the Yankees. They're actually going to be in last place again. They were in last place a year ago, as the Blue Jays will slip by them, 3rd and 4th. In the American League, if you got a winning record, you're going to be part of the final 8. And it's actually the 1st and 2nd place teams in all the divisions. We can take a quick look at the also-rans. The Expos collapsed. The Indians couldn't take advantage of anything. The Brewers folded up. Kansas City was awful altogether. And, of course, the Angels are the Angels, and the Mariners are what do you expect. But all the other teams are going into the next round. And you'll see the discrepancy in win-loss records. Let's plug the results in here. Ohio player wins 3 games to 1. They're now 23-19 on the year. The Yankees are 19-22. So the way this reads is 5, 6, 7, 8. You know, like this and like that. And look at the National League compared to the American League. You got the Giants at +6, Phillies 5, Mets +5, Pittsburgh +4. There's no Cinderella in there. There's nothing associated with Cinderella. These are 8 great baseball teams in the National League, joined by Atlanta and the Reds and the Dodgers. And even we need to mention probably at this time the Arizona Diamondbacks. Because look, as awful as they were, Arizona started the year 0-10, and since that point they are 19-6, and they just beat the Dodgers 5 out of 6 times. So give them a little bit of props too, compared to what goes on in the American League. And here you are. You've got Ohio 4 over, Minnesota 3 over, Boston 2, Texas 1. So Boston, Minnesota will be a best of 3, joined with a National League Series. These are probably the best teams remaining, in my opinion, Minnesota and Boston. And there may not be a scenario where, I guess if Texas, I don't know. I kind of think, yeah, there's no scenario where both Boston and Minnesota make the playoffs. Texas, Ohio, Texas needs a little bit more help because they're a game and a half back, just like the Yankees were, right? Right there. That's a game and a half, -1, +2. Same thing here. It's +1 and +4 this time. Texas is going to have to take 3 out of 4 from Ohio. Win a rubber match, best of 3, and then get a bonus game 4 victory. If they want to join division leaders in the American League, in this case, it is Baltimore, Detroit, the White Sox, and the A's. A couple other scenarios involved in here. The Rangers, could they actually push Oakland into a wild card if they make their improbable series win against Ohio? Yeah, that could happen. Definitely could happen. Practically will happen. Can the Twins catch the White Sox? If they win 2 straight, no. And the reason why is the White Sox have the tiebreaker because in their last meeting they beat them 5-2. Twins won 4-3 before that, so the White Sox have the tiebreaker. There's not a scenario where the Twins can get a 6 over 500. Tigers, another team. They got to wait and see what happens with Ohio, see if they get kicked into the wild card. Of course, one of these teams, Detroit or Oakland, is probably getting kicked in the wild card because Ohio, well, they play the Rangers. If the series is split 2-2, then the Tigers would hold on that division. Ohio would be the wild card, and the Rangers would be eliminated, and the A's would win the division. So 2-2 is bad for the American League. It puts the A's and the Tigers at the top. Baltimore's clearly the number 1, which is almost head-scratching. I didn't think they really were that great compared to their 69, 70, and 71 rosters. But it's all right. It's the American League, so they just, they beat Boston 4 out of 5, and they swept the Tigers 3 straight. In 3 games, the Tigers could have won, but didn't. So that's a wrap for the American League. And the second round of the postseason tourney is over. We'll do an elimination video of the Yankees, and then we'll begin the third 3-game eliminations. Probably start in the National League here. These are just great matchups. How to handicap these? Pittsburgh and San Francisco are struggling a little bit, but Pittsburgh is struggling. They split 6 games with the Reds, but then the Mets beat them 4 out of 5. Giants struggled against the Dodgers, but then they handled Portland just in one game. Phillies had lost 8 of 10. They lost 5 of 7 to the Mets and 3 straight to the Reds. So the Mets are definitely hotter than the Phillies, if you believe in that sort of thing. American League, the Twins have been scuffling late in the season. It's hard to handicap this. I don't know how Ohio player can continue to do the magic with virtually no bullpen. Boston's got no bullpen. Texas has a nice back end of a bullpen. The Twins have 2 good relievers. But again, the American, you might as well pull names out of a hat for the American League. National League, oh boy, it's going to be interesting. Can a National League team, while we're on this subject, if the Giants win their series, they can win the division. The Giants are almost in a win and you win the division, lose and you're not in the playoffs altogether, and the Dodgers win that division. Arizona's clinched. They're just sitting at the 4 seed and will stay at the 4 seed. Reds are comfortably clinched the overall number 1 seed. And the Braves are another team. They're just sitting there at number 3. But they're almost at a wild card. They're leading the division, but the 2 teams behind them, one of them is probably going to win the division. And the Braves will be a wild card. And not really that big a deal because they'll probably play each other 6 versus 3 in the playoffs when the playoffs begin. So that's it. Break up the Ohio players. Worst team in the league a year ago. They're on the inside track of making the playoffs a year later. Thanks for checking this out, and we'll see you next time.